put it mildly, I was devastated. I never thought I would be one of those guys that had been divorced. But there I was. My parents had been together for so many years and endured so much, yet they stayed together. I guess I just thought marriage was forever. In this case, it wasn't, and I had to accept it. We had known each other for 5 years and had been married for 3. Thankfully, we didn't have kids, so no one else had to suffer through this. Having kids would have made the divorce more painful. I then realized I would have to start all over again. For the next 12 to 18 months, I buried myself in my work, exercised constantly, and went out at nights with my single friends. I have to admit, a lot of times I tried to numb my pain at bars with friends and at nightclubs. Divorce was one of the most difficult battles of my life to overcome, besides living in a car in extreme poverty, and losing my good friend in the car accident. However, as time went on, I realized that my wife and I had nothing in common. We were really not all that compatible. I still felt bad about the breakup, but I knew I wanted someone with whom I could share common interests and have a family with. By mid-2006, my divorce was final, and I had met a woman named Juliet who soon became my girlfriend. She was a dance teacher and was very kind and sweet. However, our personalities did not align, and we often clashed. Perhaps I was just tainted from my failed marriage. We met through a mutual friend and enjoyed great companionship during my difficult post-divorce years, yet I guess I kind of knew this was not going to end in marriage. In time, we decided to go our separate ways. During that time period, I had moved out of my home and rented a penthouse condo at $6,500 a month. All of my friends kept asking me why I was renting since I owned so many commercial properties. I told them the market cycle was at near peak and that a big recession was coming. The writing on the wall. In 2006, business was still very good, and my climb up the real estate ladder continued as I kept buying up value-add properties, commercial fixer-uppers, fixing them up, and leasing them out to tenants. By late 2006, I started to see the writing on the wall. There was a huge downturn ahead. I had been following the markets closely for a while now and had become pretty good at seeing signs that the markets were going to turn around. I was able to get a sense of what was likely to happen next. And since the economy goes in cycles, it looked like the strong economy was coming to an end. Each time I would list a property for sale, there were more and more out-of-state buyers with 1031 exchange money bidding up the property. When you sell a property in the United States, you can choose to do a specific kind of exchange, like a 1031, and defer the taxes on your capital gains by buying a like property. Since property values had been going up in California for several years, investors in the state were selling and had to buy new property to defer their gains, so they started looking in other states like Arizona or Texas. I had been buying in Arizona a few years earlier and had sold my properties by 2005. I then started buying in Houston. At the time, the price of a barrel of oil was very low, and since it was an oil town, Houston was struggling economically, so there were some good deals on property. As more and more people were trying to jump into the market, I could see it was starting to overheat with higher prices and too many deals. It could not last. I remember my first visit to Houston in early 2004. I flew out to tour 3 buildings that a private fund, Caldwell Watson Real Estate Group, was selling. I found these properties online and they seemed to be great value-add candidates, low price per square foot, a little underperforming on occupancy, and carrying high operating expenses as they were managed by a fund. I saw this as a great opportunity since I could add value by bringing the occupancy up, lowering the operating expenses, and thereby increasing the net income, and, as a result, also increasing the value on resale. I arrived at the airport and the listing agent picked me up. He asked, "Is it just you?" I said yes. Apparently, a lot of buyers show up with their team, but I was quite comfortable handling deals on my own. Not that I didn't get outside advice from my own team members when reviewing potential deals.